I'm going to hide off camera because I'm not as important as these guys. This is... Give me the pronunciation. How do you prefer to pronounce it? Is it Emar. It's not Imar. It's Emar. All right, so... raise your hand if you're from Scotland. Raise your hand if you're from Ireland. Raise your hand if you're from the Isle of Man. See, that's the first place that gets me with you guys, is that I guess you come in different ways, like through school and stuff and training, right, over the years, and you just discovered that you all had the same sense of what you want to do with the traditional music as opposed to what you've been doing in other bands. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much that's the case. I say, we're all from different places, but we met in Glasgow, which we like to call the Nashville of traditional music.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
It's so good there. Like, there's loads of music there, and we met there, realised we liked the same kind of stuff, and then off we went from there.
So who was the last person to join, or who was the hardest to convince to join?
The one that isn't here.
Yeah. So Adam was the last one in the door. It was the other Adam. Right. He was. The four of us kind of came together, and we were like, I think we could do with a bit of boron or something, just to round off the sound.
A bit of percussion.
Yeah. So it took a couple of negotiations. We had a lot of coffee drank till he decided to come on board, and now we can't get rid of him.
It's not such a bad thing.
Definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, well, you were going to say something else. You were going to say the same thing?
Well, we originally wanted a guitarist, is what we were looking for, and then we asked Adam, and Adam turned up for the first rehearsal of Bowden.
And then and then he started playing, and we were like, fair enough, that's good. Right. He is the best baron player in the world, so like we're okay with that, Okay.
Sound like a fanboy. I've seen your videos. I did not get a chance to catch you today, but you guys are freaking tight. It's bloody brilliant. And that's kind of reading about you. The sense I get is that, and this also comes from me talking to other bands. I was just talking to the Glengarry boys earlier, and the one piece of advice that the guy who started that band was giving me for young people, which I always ask, what would you advise young bands, new bands to do? He said, make sure you have some kind of a gimmick or a niche, because you got to. You know where I'm going with this. You got to distinguish yourself in the crowd, because it's such a a small knit music scene and everything. But then you guys kind of came at this and took a giant U-turn, and it feels you've gone way traditional. Like this, like I guess in Glasgow they haven't had a sound like yours coming into the scenes for 20 years or something. Is what I read?
Maybe for a little while, but I think like the way we go about it is, it's not as if we don't play like super traditional music, but it's rooted with deeply in traditional stuff. So we play like with traditional instrumentation, and but it's kind of like it's got a good kick to it. You know what I mean? And things like that. But you said before, like what you were saying to young bands and stuff like that, I think like the most important thing, I mean, of course it's like important to have like a unique selling point and all that kind of stuff, but the really important thing is to have a good time. And like and it's like, people get obsessed with, let's do this and let's do that, and that's great, but if you're having a good time, then the audience has a good time, then they enjoy your performance, and then you're sorted. You know what I mean? So there's like, that's the most important thing, I think.
I say, like, just be yourself and don't try and be someone else, because you're the best version of yourself. I mean, so just do the music that you feel yourself playing.
Yeah.
So like going for what's going to get you the most likes. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't help. That doesn't hurt.
No. But that's what I mean. Like, if people, if you're playing honest music and having a good time, then people are going to like it. You know what I mean? So there's like that's kind of as simple as that, really. Like. And that's what we do with EMA, I guess, isn't it? It's like
we have a good time.
We have
and
a
it's
great time.
A coincidence.
Yeah, like,
people just like to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's more than just a coincidence, I think. But so you'll take what you get, right? So, but I mean, do people tell you you're a breath of fresh air, or that or do you?
Yeah, like people have said that. I think they say that about many new bands. You know, like that. It's a new thing. Yeah, I think a lot of the feedback we've got is a lot of people are just like, oh, it's just nice to hear a band just play tunes again. You know, just literally like straight down the line tunes. Like, there's a good bit of arrangement in it, but like you don't have to be a genius or like anything to understand what we're doing. You know, just tap your foot and enjoy it.
So you don't have to be like a scene insider or be versed in all the. Okay, yeah.
No, I mean, it's like we play dance music, right? So it's like, it does what it says on the tin. Do you know what I mean? It's like a strong beat, like fast stuff, bit of slow stuff, lots of fun. It's good. Like,
so. So tell me about Isle of Man music as opposed to, I mean, I understand that mostly what you're doing now is like considered within the Irish repertoire, but there are a few songs you guys have been tinkering with or have done that are purely Isle of Man, and is that weird to people in Glasgow, or is that...
Because we all come from the same sort of background, I'm not going to speak for the Manx music, so I don't know the Manx music at all. I don't associate with it. No, I don't. But like, we have all been deeply like sort of rooted in the same sort of like listening when we were younger. So most of the music we play now is composed by ourselves. So I suppose it is like, I mean, you can say it's Irish, you can say it's Manx, or you can say it's Scottish, but it is probably just Emer.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way of describing it.
That's why you went with the name, right? Because he was a king of the entire region.
Yeah, he was at one point a king of parts of Ireland, the Isle of Man, parts of Scotland. So yeah, that's where we're all from. So
was he a Norse king? Yeah, you're welcome. Norwegian ancestry here. So.
Like we were saying about the Manx music, it's like, I mean, Manx music is it's very similar to Irish and Scottish stuff, and there are some differences, and we've got different like flavour to some of the music, but as Mawson said, we all grew up listening to the same kind of stuff, and we all like the same kind of thing, and it is all, you know, very compatible with each other. So from the very beginning, we've been using tunes from the Isle of Man, tunes from Ireland, Scottish stuff we've written ourselves, but the Isle of Man in general, you know, kind of reflects where it is. It's right in the middle of the Irish Sea, with Ireland on one side and Scotland and England and Wales on the other side.
It's kind of a melting pot there. Yeah, they just they distilled a whole lot of influences. Is my understanding. I have a friend who's she's working on her PhD, and Manx is one of her specialties. But yeah, so she's she's in Dublin right now. She's at school over there. But
I think we met her mum the other night.
You probably did.
I think we did. Yeah. I can't remember where it was.
She's looking for housing though, so if you have any tips, you know, let her know. She's you know. So, have you been in the States before or often? I don't even know.
So we've all been in the States with different groups before.
With your other band, yeah, okay.
Yep. And but this is the first time we've been as EMA. It's the first trip, and we're having a blast.
Good.
Oh yeah, well, that's literally our final gig of the whole tour. We're actually going back to Scotland tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've been on the road for the last like
a few weeks,
12, 13 days or something like that, and yeah, been playing all over Maine, Vermont, New York. And
the New Hampshire games, or
didn't know, but we played in New Hampshire just after. Actually, I think the night after it finished. Yeah.
What is there a difference between the audiences here versus back home?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Yeah. I'd say from what I can tell, like people in America, they want to have a good time. So they come out and they're like, this is going to be really good. Whereas sometimes some other places that you play, people come out and they're kind of like, well, prove to me that this is going to be good kind of attitude to it. So it's like, but Americans, like, you know, everyone you speak to is unbelievably friendly, and they always want to talk to you and stuff, which is great, and they want to have a good time. So as soon as you get up there, they're right behind you. You know what I mean? So it makes it a pleasure to play, and especially in a festival atmosphere. You know, everyone's had a couple of lemonades and it's up for a good time. So that's what you want, like a couple of lemonades.
Just a couple of lemonades. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So, what is? You guys have an amazing repertoire, but what is your favorite tune to play right now? A hard choice, right?
The new stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
We're just releasing a new album in the next couple of weeks. We had it on sale this week.
Oh, excellent.
And which is great, but it's not released yet. I'd say that some of the new sets we're starting to introduce into the repertoire live as well, and it's great, great
very
fun.
fun, yeah. Really fun.
So couldn't pick one for you just now.
That's fine. That's fine. But along those lines, where is the easiest place for folks to get your music besides coming to a show?
Probably from our website, www.emarband.com.
/ gigs. Oh no, shop. Well, gigs when you come to the gig.
And as well as the website, we're all over Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and iTunes and all the rest of it. So so it should be pretty accessible.
Doing all the social media stuff there. Yeah. Would you say that the amount of popularity you guys are gaining is fast or slow, or I mean, does it feel weird or natural, or like, yeah, we deserve this, we worked our asses off? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's been pretty fast. Like, we're all in other bands as well, so you know, a lot of people, you know, some of the fans are kind of coming over from the other bands, and you're kind of inheriting that. So that has definitely helped, because the other bands definitely had to do a harder slog than Emar did. Because like the first day we launched the band, like there was 2,000 people already engaging with us. So like the other bands like had to work a bit harder to get that.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate in that respect. But then we've kind of done the work with other bands to like kind of just jump a bit.
Well, that's it's like we kind of like, you know, we've all been playing for a while, like music, you know, professionally or whatever. But and you know, when you start a band or when you're in a band, you always have to come from the bottom every time. You know what I mean? Have to start this, try and start some kind of brand that people want to come and see, and trying to like come up with new ideas and things like that. But we've all done that a couple of times already. So we kind of like pooled all our experience that we'd learned from doing that with all the other bands together, and because some people at least, you know, that maybe knew of us before and knew of our other bands, then it kind of made it much easier at the start to kind of make a big impact. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been pretty fast though. It's
It's like we're going for 2 years and we're in America, so
So
it's going really fast.
yeah, relatively fast. Yeah.
keeps going. I really do. Yeah. You think? Is there a difference between I mean, you guys you've all had musical training, very relatively formal training, right?
Well,
Some of you have, some of you haven't.
Well, I learned off YouTube.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's the best way to learn. But like, you can be
I had a teacher. Like I had a guy. I went to his house and he taught me how to play the pipes. Like from when I was 8 years old until I think I was still going to him when I was 16. So like 8 years solid, and then after that it was just kind of like I used to play in music groups that I used to organize and stuff like that. So I did have it kind of regimented. Like I had homework to do with my instrument. So I was very lucky because, you know, not everyone had access to an uilleann pipes teacher. You know, even in Ireland they can be hard to come by. So
My coworker has had basically self-taught himself, but he owns pipes from like 5 or 6 different countries. You know, once he did the Highland pipes, he started branching out to everything. But yeah, so it sounds like. But does that put more pressure on in the session music scene or anything, or people are just, I mean,
because I don't think people are like, oh, he sounds like a learned musician or like not self-taught. No, it's like, so you just go home, do your homework, and when you're at a certain standard, you do the business.
you don't feel like you're being compared to other bands or older musicians that are looking at you like, you know.
You know, people will do that themselves. Like sometimes it's nice. Sometimes when people say, "Oh, you're the next," or you remind me of such and such band, yeah, it's a nice thing. But we don't really feel a pressure of it because people will do it anyway. You know.
And in traditional music as well, like people, you know, everyone plays differently. Like, you know what I mean, and everyone's got their own style of playing as well. So I think, like, you know, it's not so much. You're not so much the same player as anyone else. Everyone's always really individual.
That's good. That's good to hear, because I know people who are in like classical music, and there's always a high degree of pressure that, you know, are you doing it the way you were instructed, or are you changing it?
Orchestras are regimented to being, because you're made to play like a machine along with a lot of other machines that are playing together. If like you put like 5 concertina players in a room, you would it'd be a horrific difference between each person.
Be horrific, that's for sure.
Yeah,
One concertina in a room is horrific enough. Like,
I know. Great time.
You just let him play out of mercy. Then it's just a favor. Just we don't want you to feel bad.
Just let me go, and I'm happy.
So what bands do you idolize? I mean, everybody. What are your influences? But seriously, who do you respect? Who do you look up to, either from the old times or currently?
I would say when we were younger, you had people that you would like listen to. Like, you probably listen to. Probably speak for everybody. We all listen to every player of the instrument that we have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Ryan listens to all the pipe players. But you know what I mean? I listen to all the concertina players. But after a while, you listen to them. You try and like imitate someone's style. And then after that, you're like, do you know what? We listen to everybody. And then you end up playing in sessions with all your friends, and you learn off your friends. So generally, for myself anyway, my influence is everyone that I've played with. So you've taken something from everybody and put it to make your own self. So that's what I do.
That's fair to say. Again, I wish my coworker were here to talk to you guys. I told him he needed to come, but he's still over there selling kilts, so he's going to be envious. But that sounds like what he would say. And he goes to piping conventions and things, and everybody just sits around and drinks and plays together, and that's they influence each other.
It's just like, it goes back to like what I said before about having a good time. It's like any music that you hear where people are having a great time, it is infectious, and it does rub off on you, doesn't it? It's like, and that's the thing, because before we've all been in other bands that kind of like, they have like a really specific agenda, and I guess like we also have a specific agenda, is to have a good time, which is like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
is EMR therapy for the other bands you had been in?
Let's not put that online.
can we cut this bit out?
I would say it's definitely been. I think when you're away touring with one band, say even EMR, we've been on the road for 2 weeks. I'm actually going to look forward to going to my other band, playing a different set list, and it's a different style of music. Even like we do play different in my other band. Yeah, like, and it does keep you sharp. Being in two bands is great, so it is kind of nice to get a break. Even like it's a new dressing room full of people as well, so it's like you've more to talk about, and mentally it's better than just being in one band, one set thing.
The more things you do, the fresher it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think creatively it's just better. Like, and if you're going to do a job in music, I think you have to have at least two things. I think that's essential,
Have day jobs? No. That's bloody brilliant. Most folks I talk to in this country, you have to have a day job if you're going to be a band in the scene.
Our day job is our the bands. You know what I mean? In a way, so we play in as many bands as we can to make the money. That's kind of it.
And the thing is, like you were saying, with social media now, and we have to kind of manage ourselves in a way, and we have to do all the merchandise. That when we do come off the road, there is a stack of things that needs to be done away from the stage. We have to rehearse. We wouldn't be able to rehearse to the standard that we've gotten if we had day jobs, because you couldn't rehearse in the evening and things like that.
It's not going to be in somebody's garage.
I think it's crazy that you can have a day job and be like and do music, because it is so time consuming. You know what I mean? You've got it is, and in a way, it's nice. We can go home. We're going home for a week. We're going to be at home for a week, but there's always things to be done, and there's always like different things to do. And you're like self-employed. You know what I mean? So if you don't do anything, then you don't make any money. So so you have to do. You always have stuff to do.
You're just going to do this the rest of your lives?
Until we keel over.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we've been going at it pretty hard over the last couple of years, all of us, with this band and with other bands too. And I think if we keep up that pace, it's not going to be a very long life. But the idea is, we're having a great time. But the idea is you put as much effort in now as you can, and then you do less for more. You know what I mean? That's kind of thing. So it's good to do a lot of gigs for sure, but
because ideally, when we're older and we can't go on the road for as much, it'd be nice to just go in and do one festival and get a whole tour's worth of money. Because
that'll happen. That's
such a big fan base, so that would be nice.
That's a foregone conclusion.
In the ideal world, So we'll see.
Realistically, we're going to be pretty solid at the touring for the next 20 years.
At least.
Yeah, I think.
Work for the Chieftains, why not?
They're still going strong.
That's true.
Different floors in the hotel, so
All right, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
you for having us.
I wish you all the best.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.